am I? Lucy? Lucy, are you there?
Your eyes, let's begin. Join me, it's Maui, breathe it in. I know it's a lot, the hair, the vibe. When you're staring at a demigod, what can I say except you're welcome? For the tides, the sun, the sky, hey, it's okay.
Hello, boys and girls. So I am kind of upset because it is the last day of Disney week, and I ended up in the right spot because we're going to be talking about Moana. I'm really excited because Moana has a lot of interesting things about it, and like a lot of Disney movies, a lot of the stories, a lot of the culture that is in the Moana movie, as well as some of the words and names, are from the Polynesian islands. So we're going to talk a little bit about what culture means. We're going to talk about how some of the words and names from Moana come from the Polynesian culture. And we're going to look specifically at Maui and his tattoos, because there is a tribe from Polynesia that also has some really cool tattoos that we're going to study a little bit. So, onward. Okay, so here we go. Today we're going to learn about how Polynesian cultures inspired and informed the Disney movie Moana, and then we're going to create our own kind of tribal tattoo masks based on this tribe we're going to look at that was from Polynesia, and that's the Maori tribe. So, first question, if the culture of Polynesia influenced Moana, what does that mean? What is culture? So culture is just the behavior, some of the knowledge, the language, the food, the different beliefs, the art, traditions, and customs. Basically the way of life of different groups of people. So here's pictures of a whole bunch of different cultures. Even sports like soccer can be a part of your culture. There's a picture of Thanksgiving dinner in the United States. One of our traditions is to enjoy Thanksgiving dinner, so that has to do with our culture. At Synergy School, I included a picture of one of our morning assemblies because that has to do with the culture of our school and how we value some of those character traits like respect that we talk about in some of those assemblies. Okay, Motunui is the name of the island that Moana takes place on. It's not a real island, but it is supposed to be an island in Polynesia. So it's supposed to take place 300,000 years ago in the Polynesian islands. So you can see on the map, you can see a triangle shape and the word Polynesia in there. So the islands that are in that triangle make up what we call Polynesia. And there's a picture of New Zealand. Okay, so language is also a part of people's culture. And a lot of the names and words in Moana have come from Polynesian languages. So the word Polynesia actually means many islands. The name Moana in different Polynesian languages means ocean. Te Fiti means a faraway place. And I like this one. Tamatoa, that giant crab, actually means trophy in the Maori language, which makes sense because Tamatoa is kind of all about collecting treasures and souvenirs from the people that he has conquered. So above you can also see some of the different languages in Polynesia. So they might speak a different language on Samoa than they do in Hawaii, but they look pretty similar. Okay, Maui. Who is Maui? We're going to talk about the mythology from Polynesia that inspired Maui. Disney writers didn't just come up with this guy out of nowhere. So in the movie, Maui is a man who was abandoned by his human parents when he was a baby. Then the gods took pity on him and made him into a demigod. So he's like a half god. And they give him a magic fish hook that gives him the ability to shape shift. Pretty cool. And according to this myth, Maui created the Pacific Islands by fishing them from the sea. So in Polynesian mythology, there's many kind of different stories about Maui, and there's many different interpretations. But Maui, in their mythology, was also a demigod. He was known as a hero and as a trickster. So there's a lot of stories about him, but I found the one that includes his fish hook because I wanted to see how similar the mythology story was to the movie. So in the Polynesian story, the fish hook was also magical. And one day when Maui was trying to show off his fishing skills, he caught something very big with his hook. He thought it was a big fish. So for 2 days, he kept reeling the fish in while his brothers paddled the boat so that the line would stay tight. As they were pulling, the ocean floor, it was like they were pulling up the ocean floor behind them. The fishing line broke. The ocean floor came up into peaks and valleys. The land stopped rising and the peaks and valleys formed new islands. So the result was the Polynesian Islands. So the story in the movie is very, very similar to mythology that came from Polynesian culture. We're going to be looking at the Maori people of Polynesia, and they live on the islands of New Zealand. You can see the arrow, so that's still in the triangle of Polynesia. So here's some pictures of New Zealand. So there's a beautiful landscape, that's their flag, and there's also different cities in New Zealand. Okay. I got to learn lots of things about the Maori people getting this ready for you guys. So they were the first people to live in New Zealand, to settle in New Zealand. Their language is called Te Reo. And right now there's still 700,000 people living in New Zealand that were of Maori descent. So that means that their heritage, their family was Maori. The greeting, I thought this was really interesting. The greeting in Maori when you meet someone is called hongi. This is when two people press their foreheads and noses briefly together, closing their eyes. They breathe deeply. And this is to represent, it's like they're sharing the breath of life. So like their souls are meeting. So that's what they need to do. Now, nowadays, I don't know what's going on in New Zealand, but we definitely would not be able to do that kind of greeting here with our 6 feet of social distance. So don't try it. A Maori meeting is called a marae. To enter a marae, you have to be welcomed, and that usually involves a challenge by a Maori warrior. So it could just be singing or chanting, but you must show that you come in peace. And you might recognize that green amulet. Green stone, or it's also called jade, is a very precious stone to the Maori people. It is known as, and I'm trying really hard to say these words, but I know it's probably not right. It's known as punamu in Te Reo Maori. It is made into amulets. So each type of amulet, each shape has its own meaning. And then I found that picture of the second Maori king. He was way back in the 1800s, but I really like the tattoos that are shown on his face. Okay, so Maori culture. We know culture is the behavior, the traditions of groups of people. And there's two big customs, two big beliefs in Maori culture that are really important to them, and I think that we can learn a lot about these too, because I think these are things that everybody should be practicing. Now, I'm going to try my best to say these. Mana kitanga and kaitanga are the two big parts of their beliefs. Mana kitanga is all about kindness. It means welcoming and looking after guests. It's being generous and respectful so that everybody is better off. And it's very important to many people in New Zealand. And Kaitia Kitanga is all about respect for the environment and taking care of it. So they are very respectful of nature. And New Zealand is a very, very beautiful place. Okay, so we're going to talk now about these super cool tattoos that these people have on their faces, and they've had them since way, way, way long ago. In their culture, they began doing these tattoos. So tamoko is what they call the traditional art of tattooing in the Maori culture. And every tattoo is unique. So nobody, as far as we know, nobody has exactly the same tattoos. The tattoos, Lucy, it's okay, it's okay. You good? All right, sorry for the interruption. So tattoos tell, they're not just random patterns, they tell about where a person's family comes from. It tells different things they know about and what they do within their tribe. The tribe is called iwi. A moko on the face shows one's identity. It shows who they are. And it is the tattoos on the head that are believed to be the most sacred, the biggest part of your identity. Men can get tattoos all over their bodies traditionally, but women usually, traditionally, only have them above or under their mouth, on their chin. Okay, so also, I'm not going to go through all of these, but the placement of the tattoo on your face means something. So each part of the face has a certain meaning. So for example, the center of the forehead has to do with your rank in your group. So that could be if you're a king, you would have a certain symbol on your forehead. Let's see, around the temples, you would tattoo something about if you're married or if you're not married. On your cheeks, you would have symbols that show what profession, what job you do. So the tattoos, not only do the symbols mean something, but the placement of the tattoo symbol means something on their face. So there's a lot of information there. Okay, what do you see? These are some examples of some of the symbols and patterns that we see in Maori tattoos. So my question is, do you see any patterns? And what is a pattern? I know you guys know what a pattern is. So their tattoos, they don't just have symbols that stand for certain things. They have patterns. What is a pattern? Say it in your head, say it to your neighbor, say it to your mom or dad or aunt or dog. Okay, I trust you have all said that a pattern is just something that repeats. So it could be the repetition of circles. It could be numbers like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It could be words or letters. We're going to talk about the repetition of different shapes. So look at this design of the tattoo. Do you see a pattern in this design? And now you can point to the patterns you see and show whoever is around you. Thank you. You are all brilliant. Okay, so here are some of the symbols that you see in Maori tattoos. So the first one, and I am not even going to attempt to say these words. Okay, I'll try. Himato, toi, is the fish hook. So that's a symbol of strength, of prosperity, kind of like wealth, abundance, respect for the sea. Hitiki is this carved figure. This figure is known as the first man. Wira, the whale tail, is a symbol of family and love and playfulness and peace and harmony and friendship. That's a nice one. The koru is a symbol of peace, of tranquility, of new life. The manaya is the spirit creature, so that has to do with spiritual energy, the circle of life. The toki is a chisel, so that's a symbol of someone who's an artist or a craftsman. Pikar is a bat, and pikorua is a symbol of the journey of life, of love and friendship, and the joining of things. Okay, so here's some other patterns, and you can always go back to these because we are going to design our own tattoos, so you can get ideas from the real Maori designs. So the one on top with the triangles is shark's teeth. Next to that is the symbol for ocean. And the two middle ones are arrows. So there's the simpler arrow and then more complex arrow. The one kind of funky one on the bottom is lizard or lizard skin. And the other one is, you might be able to tell, is the turtle shell. And so some of those animals are in their tattoos. So the first little guy's face is similar to the other first man kind of symbol we saw. It is the tiki. So these are human-like figures that represent like demigods. They're a symbol of protection, of a guardian. The turtle is a symbol of health and life and peace. Lizards in mythology, gods and spirits appeared to men as lizards. So they would bring good luck. They would communicate between gods and humans. However, if you were disrespectful, the lizards could also bring bad luck. So you always want to think about that. Lizards could bring you bad luck if you're not respectful. And then the last one, the stingray, which reminds me of the grandmother in Moana, is a symbol of protection, sometimes of gracefulness, of peacefulness. All right, so here we go, starting out our mask. So I'm going to show you my design. I'm going to be looking at some of the symbols that we already looked at, and I am going to look at some of the examples of the pictures that I showed you in the PowerPoint. So I don't want you to copy my design. I want you to look at the symbols and see what makes sense to you, what designs that you like. So if you want to go ahead with me and start with making the actual shape of the head and the eyes and the nose and the mouth, great. And then I'm going to show you how I would design my own mask. So we have talked, kindergarten to 5th grade, we've talked about our symmetry, our mask, and the Maori people's masks. I can actually show you this from the PowerPoint. He has a mask that's the same on both sides. So if we were to fold it in half, both sides would match up. The lines and the shapes are the same size and the same shape, like a mirror. So we are going to try, it may not be perfect, but we're going to try to have our mask also have symmetry. So the first way that I can make sure it has symmetry as a face shape is by folding it. So I have it portrait, not landscape. We're doing a portrait. And I'm going to fold it in half and make sure that my corners match up. Okay, now before I open it back up, I'm going to make a half oval. So this will be half of my face. Then when I cut it out, I know that the other half will be the same size and the same shape. So I'm going to think about what half of my head looks like, or half of an oval. Okay, now before I open it up, I'm going to cut it out all over my scissors. I'm going to try to carefully stay on my line. All right, let's see how we did. And look at this, I have the negative space, and then we have our oval. Okay, so this is going to be my basic face shape, and then I'm going to try to make two, lost my good pencil, I'm going to try to make two eyes that are just about symmetrical as well. So I know from doing our portraits that my eyes are going to be pretty much in the middle of my head. And this is going to be a mask, so we don't have to worry about them being perfect. I'm going to actually make some big eye holes here so that if you did want to cut out your mask, you could. And we're going to try to darken this up a little bit so you can see that. All right, so same shape on the other side. And I will try. Okay, and then I'm just going to make a basic nose shape. So I'm going to make two lines that go down here. Not making a super realistic portrait right now. And then I'm just going to make come down like that. And then the mouth, I'm going to leave mine kind of like open. Like this. So that if I want to cut that out, put it on my face, I can't. Okay, now I'm going to think first about what symbols I want to have. So I really liked the tiki, and I think I'm going to try to put it kind of like over the nose of my guy. So remember, I am looking right at our PowerPoint we saw before. So remember that shape. I'm going to try to make a design kind of like that, and I am going to put it right over my nose. I'm going to try not to cover up my nose lines there because we still want it to look like a nose. Okay, so what I see, so I see some lines that come up like this. And each time I do one on this side, I'm going to do it on the other side. So I don't forget. Okay, then let's have a double line. Lucy, stop, please. Okay, and then there's kind of a shape that comes down underneath the eye. Okay, and on the other side, it's going to be similar. Okay. Next, there's a piece that comes kind of straight up. This isn't going to look exactly like the other one, but there's a line that almost attaches to those. And then there's a ring that comes up. Okay, so do you guys get sick of me saying that? Because when I watch my videos, I notice, and nobody gave me a count the other day, but I notice that I say it a lot. Do I do that in class too? Probably. Okay, so I did my tiki design, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to the different patterns that we looked at. So I had my shark's teeth, I had my ocean, my arrows, my lizard, turtle. And I think I'm going to use, I like this turtle shell pattern. So I'm going to add some of that, I think just around the sides. Let's see. I think it'd look kind of cool if I put it on the edge here. And I'm making a pattern, make a pattern, make a pattern. Yeah, let's make a pattern, make a pattern, make a pattern. Okay, and then I think I'll do one more set on the other side. Okay, so I did my turtle shell, and then I added up here kind of like, I thought it kind of looked like eyelashes. This is the ocean wave. I put this also because I don't know if anyone's seen, but I actually have a tattoo that is similar to this. I got it in Costa Rica. I was doing a lot of surfing, so I got a wave tattoo. But now I have them as eyelashes. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do, I was really torn whether I should go and do kind of a symbol animal thing or a pattern, but I went back to this slide, so you guys can always rewind and go back to these. And I really like this symbol Pikorua, that means like the journey of life, friendship. So I'm going to do, I think I'll do the middle one. And I'm going to do those on the sides of my face right here. So this is kind of where I have space. And then I think I'm going to do a kuru, which is just that kind of swirly lollipop kind of thing on my forehead. This is kind of a tough one. It starts like that. It's almost like an optical illusion. The bottom, and then this part comes in front. So kind of fun to learn how to draw, because once you get it, you get it. You'll always get it. Okay, so I'm going from the bottom up. Now this part starts to come through. So I know this end is going to come out on this side. Gosh, this reminds me of a snake a little bit. And Lucy and I just had an encounter, super scary encounter with a rattlesnake last week. She went over it. She was in front of me on the trail. She went over it, and then all of a sudden, after she went over it, it coiled up right in front of me. And then she was way past it, but then she tried to start coming back towards it, and I had to sprint and go, no, 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 and then she ran away. We were all okay. I just haven't been able to take her out on the trail for a little while. All right, so I went back, I finished this little life friendship symbol on both sides. I added the circle, what was it? Circle, new life, purity, peace, tranquility circle. And I added a couple more little ocean symbols up here. And you can always go in if you just say, I really like a design, I like Sometimes when I doodle, I make things like this, and then I like to go like things like that on top. Yeah. If you want to add your own personal doodles, you can. So this is, I want to teach you guys about these masks, but this is also your personal expression. So you want to add something about yourself in there, go for it. All right, so now I think I'm going to color this. I cross the waves to find you. Your name may have stolen the heart from inside you. Can come find you. This is not who you are. Is my mask. The last thing I've got to do is, if I really want to wear it, you have to cut out the eyes and the mouth. And then what you can do, if you have any string or anything around, is just cut 2 holes in here, and then you'll be able to string it around your face. Okay, so because the mouth is in the middle here, and I want it to be symmetrical, I can just barely fold it in half again. I don't want a big crease in there. And then I'm just going to cut a shape that I know it's not going to match up perfectly. Okay. All right. Oh, I got to fix a little bit. Okay, the eyes can be a little bit trickier. But what you can do, if you want to make it so you don't have to punch a hole, sometimes it's like a little bit dangerous. I'll do that one this one that way. Just punch a little hole in there with my scissors. But one way to cut out holes in things is to keep folding. Okay, so that one, not bad. With this, what I'm going to do just to start to get that cut so I don't have to go so violent, I'm just going to go like this. And then I already have cut in there, and I can keep going along with it. It's especially helpful if you have those little kid scissors that aren't so pointy. Right. Okay, there's my mask. I don't know if you guys really want to see my face under the camera, but we did it. So post your pictures of you wearing your mask if you want to wear your Disney outfit while you have your mask on. That would also be awesome. And I really enjoyed Disney Week with you guys. I got to see some of your awesome costumes on our Zoom conference, so that was great. And I cannot wait for next week. We're going to have a super, super special guest, and it's not, guess what? It's not even going to be me dressed up in a costume. So I will see you guys next time. Have an awesome day. I miss you, and I love you all. Hello? Where Where am I? Seriously? Seriously? I've been staring at the edge of the water long as I can remember, never really knowing why. I wish I could be the perfect daughter, but I come back to the water, no matter how hard I try. Every turn I take, every trail I track, every path I make, every road leads back to the place I know where I cannot go, so I want to be. Yes, I made it. I made it to Frozen. Yes, finally in the right place. You're welcome. And thank you.